The COP29 climate summit in Azerbaijan is expected to continue into the weekend as arguments persist about how much rich countries should pay to help poorer nations combat global warming. A draft agreement proposes that $250 billion should be provided annually by 2035. Climate activists and developing countries say more is needed. At 6, 2 men who ran a people smuggling operation from a car wash in South Wales plead guilty in court. The men who live in Caerphilly were part of a vast operation which brought hundreds of illegal migrants to the UK. They ran their business like a travel agency.
Someone said to my team, it was like TripAdvisor, they were rating their service.
Also tonight, a 6th tourist, 19-year-old Holly Bowles, dies after suspected methanol poisoning in Laos. The family of the British victim, Simone White, say she was one of a kind. The mixed martial arts star Conor McGregor is ordered to pay more than £200,000 to a woman who accused him of raping her. This was her message outside court.
No matter how afraid you might be, speak up, you have a voice, and keep on fighting for justice.
Chaos at Gatwick Airport after one terminal was evacuated for hours on a day that tens of thousands were expecting to fly. And as storm Bert approaches, we'll be telling you where and when the snow, wind and rain is likely to hit the UK.
Our headlines today. Another rise in energy prices is expected to be confirmed this morning when Ofgem announces the price cap for January.
Good morning. I'll have all the details on exactly how much bills could go up by as campaigners argue millions of households will struggle to cope and need extra help.
President Putin has warned that Russia could attack military facilities of countries that have allowed their weapons to be used by Ukraine against Moscow.
A British lawyer has died after a suspected methanol poisoning that's thought to have killed 4 others in Laos.
Yeah, that looks fine. Thanks very much, Brad. How clean is your barber or hairdressers? There are calls for better regulation in the industry this morning.
The King's coronation cost the country £72 million, according to official accounts. King Charles III was crowned at Westminster Abbey in May last year. More than 2/3 of the money was spent by the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, and policing the event cost around £21 million. The government described it as a once-in-a-generation moment.
News of a much-anticipated reunion. Gavin, Stacey and the rest of the gang from Barry back together. This is a new image released ahead of the show's finale.
There they all are, the much-loved comedy set to return to our screens on Christmas Day for what we are told will be its last ever episode. The last time we saw them was 5 years ago in that Christmas special in 2019. Do you remember? Nessa went down on one knee asking Smithy to marry her. But the question remains, did he say yes? Well, we're going to find out on Christmas Day.
We just ruined it if people haven't seen it.
Yeah. I think probably most people know the end to the last Christmas special.
Had you seen that, Matt? Did you know that?
I'm going to be really honest, I didn't see it.
Oh, so just ruined it.
Don't need to watch it now, though.
Well, that's something I can live with. Let's take a look at today's papers, the front pages. This is the Metro leading on the death of the British lawyer Simone White. We've been talking about this as well. She's become the 5th person to die after drinking alcohol allegedly containing methanol in Laos.
Look at the Times. They say judges at the International Criminal Court have issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The article also points out that the Israeli Prime Minister faces arrest if he enters the UK.
New inheritance tax rules for farmers could be changed to make it easier for those over 80 to hand down their farm without paying more. If it goes ahead, The Guardian says this would be a partial U-turn by the government following Tuesday's protests.
And a look at the Daily Mirror. They have a tribute to John Prescott, who's died at the age of 86. The paper describes the former Deputy Prime Minister as a Labour giant and proud working man.
I'm Victoria Hollins. A BBC investigation has found one London firm has overcharged leaseholders by more than £1 million in 5 years through their service charges. More than a dozen homeowners have told the BBC they've been left in despair because of what they call rip-off charges that left them owing thousands of pounds a year.
Thought we can't live here anymore. We've only just bought this place a year ago and we can't afford to live here suddenly. It felt unfair.
Well, Eager States says the £1 million figure is overstated and amounts due have been refunded. They say the increase in service charges reflects essential infrastructure upgrades and inflationary pressures. Well, we'll have a special programme looking at leaseholds and the spiralling cost of service charges tonight here on BBC One at 6:30. 5 men have been arrested and charged as part of an ongoing investigation into migrant smuggling from the UK to France in lorries. National Crime Agency officers raided properties across the capital to arrest the suspects, who were all thought to be Algerian and Egyptian nationals. They all appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court yesterday, charged with conspiracy to facilitate the illegal entry of a person in an EU country. A new TV show is coming to our screens next week, giving an insight into the lives of midwives at Basildon Hospital. The 8-episode series called The Young Midwives of Essex goes behind the scenes at the maternity unit in the South Essex Hospital, showing newly qualified and student midwives as they embark on their fledgling careers.
Midwife means with women, so being part of the team that looks after these people, like women, birthing partners, through their transition, coming their newborn, has been a great experience. Yeah, so for me, it's very great, and I'm so privileged to work with amazing midwives around.